Welcome back to Melodic Memories of Light's Monarch. I'm Casey, and happy Halloween. I know Halloween is over now, it is November, but it is what just passed and what I just was able to experience. Halloween on a Friday, hell yeah. Though unfortunately, it didn't make much of a turnout from, the kids. So obviously, trick or treating, that's a normal thing every Halloween. This year it was abysmal. Like, I know that we've kind of lived in certain areas of this city where there aren't many kids around doing trick or treating, but today, or rather this year, I thought it would have been way better and it was a little bit disappointing, but not any more disappointing than, unfortunately, the Toronto Blue Jays. I didn't want to get into this right away, but I guess this is kind of where I'm going with it. Toronto Blue Jays, on Halloween, they lost. And then the next day following, that Saturday, they lost again. And that means they did not win the World Series. And it is unfortunate. It's something that's been kind of weighing on my mind, and I believe the rest of Canada for probably the whole weekend. And it comes after both years, like prior, not to do with baseball, but hockey, with the Edmonton Oilers, NHL. Like, it's just something that Canadians kind of gather around for when our teams are doing good, regardless of what team it is. Hey, it's a Canadian team. Let's support, come together, and the unity during those times is usually amazing. And most people are very much like, oh, hey, the Jays are in the playoffs, they're in the World Series, or the Oilers are in the playoffs, they're in the Stanley Cup final. Like, I know people that don't know sports might not understand what I'm saying, but it just brings such a unity that I can usually only find with music. And I know it's like, a bit of a stretch to make that connection, but the way that I view it and the way that I, celebrate my teams, be it any team that I follow, the Oilers or the Blue Jays being the main two, it's just something that, like, when they're winning, the whole country's feeling it. It's like, hell yeah, we're going to do this. And unfortunately, we always seem to fall short. And that's not anything to say against the players that played during this World Series. It's something that, it's a once in a lifetime kind of thing. Maybe they'll be back next year. Their team's going to be different, but that's besides the point. This group of guys that made it to the World Series and made it to Game 7, yeah, I do believe they should have won. I do believe they were the better baseball team, but that could just be my bias, obviously. I am a Blue Jays fan, and all of that aside, though, I'm still proud of them, and I'm proud of what they were able to do for the people of this country in such a dividing time. The country that is Canada, I know it's, could be better or worse in different places, but there's always this division, and it seems like everyone's so mad at each other, just angry to be angry at whatever under the sun. And when it comes to these kind of events, these sporting occasions, if you will, these tournaments, when our teams do well, and in baseball we only have the one, when they do well, it just brings all those people, hatred aside, or, whatever they got going on, they put it aside for a moment and just support one thing, and it's just such a unifying, exciting time. Like, my roommates, they don't watch sports, and they were watching every game with me. And, same can be said with when the Oilers were in the Stanley Cup final. Every game that they were able to watch, they did. So it just goes to show that even people that don't care, it's a way to just make everyone on the same plane, the same playing ground, the level, and just be happy for something. So if that's what I'm able to take out of it, that's what I'm able to take out of it. Sure, you might call it copium, but it is what it is at the end of the day, and I guess I had to get that out of the way because it has been weighing on my mind probably more than I would have liked to admit. Now, with the Toronto Blue Jays, their season being over, I can move my focus on to hockey and hopefully cheering on the Oilers to a win. I'm not going to be super hopeful, but, third time's the charm, right? Like, right? But all that to be said, we're even leading up to just next year, I believe within 100 days or something crazy like that, the Olympics. Now, I'm somebody that always loves watching the Olympics, Winter Olympics, mind you. I've never been super crazy on the summer ones. Nothing against them. God, no. Just nothing that really captures my attention as much as the winter ones, and maybe that's because I'm Canadian, go figure. But when it comes to figure skating, ice dancing, skiing, bobsleigh, like all of the things, especially hockey being number one, hell, I'll even throw curling in there. I enjoy watching them way more than I do the running or triathlon, like the summer events. And that's nothing to, again, downplay them. All those athletes, holy hell, I could only wish to be that good at something. But when it comes to the Winter Olympics, I'm very excited this year because those NHL players that I love to watch are all going to come together, same way they did for Nations Face-Off, which Canada won. They're able to come together with probably a pretty similar team and play for their country, this time on the world stage rather than what the Four Nations Face-Off was. So I'm very excited for that, and all sports aside, it's something to look forward to. And I'm talking directly to all the Canadians out there that got their hopes up with the Blue Jays and everything like this. And also for the Oilers the 2 times over. Canadians, we have a chance in the Olympics this year. And hopefully it's good things. Obviously it's sporting events. There's no need to dictate your life towards it. But it's something to look forward to. And again, another time that I believe our country will be unified once again. And it brings me back to saying the only things that can really unify this country, or at least the way that I think of it, the way that I can find unity within people and just being on the same level as someone, is either during sporting events, whether you're cheering for the same team or not, you're both like there for the game, right? You might hate each other or have like some talking back and forth, some smack talk, but it's a part of the game. And concerts. When you're at a concert, when you're ready for new music, be it anything under the sun, any sort of live artist and musician, or art in general, a movie, like it's places like this, areas like this, events like this that bring this unity towards people. And sure, maybe it sounds like I'm just spouting nonsense, but it means something to me, and it's a nice little way to think about it after such a devastating loss. Heart goes out to the Blue Jays and all the Blue Jay fans. I understand your pain, and hopefully we can win it next year. That's all you can say, even if it is a huge cliche. Now, on a happier note, and to get sports aside, apologies, this isn't a sports podcast, but things that I love, and another thing that I love, the highlight of my Halloween, if you will, was Black Veil Brides. They finally released their first episode, first ever, of their Who Cares About Black Veil Brides documentary on YouTube. Go check it out on YouTube. It is under their channel, and I couldn't have been happier to have watched that. It was a complete surprise. I just seen somebody on Twitter being like, oh my god, the new documentary, and I was like, hold up. So I opened Instagram instantly. I have all my notifications turned off on my phone, so I didn't get one for it. But I am a part of the Outcast channel on their IG, and I was able to see that they posted it as a link for fans first, and I was able to watch it that lunch because luckily I had enough time during my work lunch, and it just reminded me how much I love these guys, especially Andy. Like, the whole band are just such a great group of dudes to where, like, they all have such a solid head, and they all just, I don't even know how to put it. They're just such good people. And Andy himself, to give such an honest, like, look at his life, at himself, and dealing with, you know, being what they would consider today to be on the spectrum and going through this battle constantly from growing up of needing to create these worlds that he's mastered so perfectly on his, you know, in his musical journey, that he would like write it on the walls and things that his parents, Chris, if you're listening, that you guys found, his parents found on his walls underneath posters and stuff like that. Like, it was just an amazing insight to see that he struggled so hard, even to the point where he did try medication of some sort and didn't feel like himself, felt like a ghost, and, you know, in his words, kind of muted his superpowers in what he deems as superpowers today. So it's something that was really heartwarming to be like, holy shit, even with all of my problems, or anyone listening, with if you have issues yourself, remember that they don't define you. You can use them as your superpower. I know everyone's story is different, And don't get me wrong, but if you're able to channel that and make it something for you to say, I'm unique and this is how I can make myself better than that person, or better than, maybe not better than, but to do what I want to do, be it to create something or whatever it is, at your ability, like something that only you could do because of those things that make you you. And it is beautiful to know that Andy, even though with all of his struggles throughout his life and, personal and whatnot, he was still able to channel these things and use them as a literal superpower. I don't know if anyone knows, but I've followed them for a very long time, and I know how hard this man worked. And this isn't to discredit any of the band members either. I'm just speaking specifically about Andy because I followed his career very closely. And I understand that he went literally from Black Veil Brides 4, doing a tour, I think a 2-year long tour, all the way to almost dying because he was stretching himself so thin, being on so many, I can't say so many drugs, I don't know that for sure, but, drinking very heavily, very, very heavily, and getting to a point where he, as his own words in an interview long ago, said he hit rock bottom, and that's what he needed to start getting back up. And he attributed it to a story of kind of like falling like a leaf. Rather than just plummeting straight down and hitting rock bottom, it was very much like a leaf kind of sways down to the ground. And once he hit that rock bottom, where he kind of almost died, he luckily didn't, and was able to push to be somebody way better than he ever was, and continuously does so. And, being sober, quitting cigarettes, like I know he still vapes and whatnot right now, but like in that time he was on his journey to be sober. And I remember him literally going from that downfall, the tour, into making Andy Black, the Shadow Side, and then doing a tour for that, and then going right back into Black Veil, and then after that kind of fizzled out, going right back in to Andy Black with the Ghost of Ohio. It's just like he puts in the work, and it's been that way for his constant whole discography. And it's only within the last 10 years that they've really slowed down, at least for what we've seen. They've still released stuff here and there, but obviously it hasn't been nearly as much as they did in their first 10 years. And I guess that just goes to show how much they've grown as artists. When you really master your craft, you're constantly wanting to do more. When you know what you're wanting to do, you want to do it better and better and better. And there's no reason to constantly, do the same thing. And Black Veil has been really good at making it still authentic to Black Veil Brides as their sound and what an audience would expect, what their fans want. But also adding new things to make it new and refreshing for them all the same. Because if it wasn't, why would Black Veil Brides still be around? Why would their fans still support them as much as they do? And I, as a fan myself, can say because they've been able to reinvent themselves so many times over and still keep it Black Veil Brides. Like every time they do a cover of something, I'm like, wow, they Black Veilified this song. Like Rebel Yell to even their newest cover of Sunday Bloody Sunday, or even more so, which this one maybe not a lot of people know of, but the one that they did for Juneteenth, the Bruce Springsteen song, I believe, called American Skin. Now that one, definitely not as riffy, if that's the right way to put it. Very wholesome and solemn feeling, but it is for a cause, obviously. I wish they would release that one on streaming, just a side note. Even if they wanted all of the proceeds to go to whatever Black Lives Matter fundraiser that they were pushing that towards, I mean, in my mind, they could still post it somewhere, for streaming, or even a digital download that the proceeds that song specifically makes goes to a foundation of some sort of their choosing. Again, I don't know the logistics on it. It's just something I wish I would love to have it on my phone, because I had never went out of my way to illegally download it, because again, it was for a cause. And if I legally download it, I like supporting my artists. And when it's something that is that important and has such a meaning to it, it feels even more wrong than it normally does. So, tangent aside, back to back to who cares about Black Veil Brides. That new episode is finally out. Episode 1 of God knows how many. If there is a number, I don't fully know it yet. If there is one, I'll definitely say so in the next episode, because I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that the next episode is coming out soon. They haven't said anything about it, at least to my knowledge again, and it's something that I am going to be following because, again, this band is one of my top favorite bands of all time. Black Veil Brides, to know so much of what I already know about them, to have followed their career for so long, to even get this level of insight and find out even more after so many years of, again, being a fan. It is so heartwarming and so fulfilling. It brought back just a rush, an emotional, like, roller coaster, an emotional wave of feelings. And so many memories, too. Going through just, like, the stories that they were telling, and some that I didn't even know, but the one in particular was the Vancouver show, where Andy jumped in the crowd and Lonnie was right there next to him. The amount of times I watched that video growing up, when I was, falling in love with this band, when I came across that, I watched it a few times over because it's like, holy shit, imagine being in that crowd and being able to be that close to that. And to know that Lonnie, I remember hearing it in an interview a while ago, but I didn't fully remember it until this, and I was like, holy shit, right, that was the connection, and now Lonnie's in the band, and that's a cool little note to be like, hey, if people don't know, the Vancouver show, back for the Black Mass tour, Andy was talking to a heckler through the mic in the crowd, almost hit Lonnie, and jumped right into the crowd to go fight this guy, because Andy used to be a hothead, for good reason, and this is something, again, that honestly made me so overwhelmed and just cry, in a good way, but overwhelmed just to know, man, Andy, the only reason he was that angry at people, which, again, as a fan, I already kind of knew this, but just for it to be reinforced, he was just standing up for him. And not just for him, but every outcast, every loser, for lack of a better term. And I say that about myself, because I was a part of that. Everyone that was his age, those outcasts, he was being their voice and standing up for them, and no matter if he would get his ass kicked. No matter what. Just some skinny guy in leather pants that just has a microphone and a voice. He was willing to stand up for everybody. And I say that with all the love in the world. This man I respect so very much. And to know that Lonnie was in that crowd when he jumped in is really cool. And then also for them to get into just the simple fact of why he did those things was very heartwarming. And I say an emotional roller coaster because it brought back a lot of memories of growing up with the band, and just knowing that, he stood up for us. And to know that a lot of the stuff that people would do, which, this is kind of straightforward, hurt him. Because a lot of people shit hard, not just on Black Veil, but Andy in particular. No idea why. I guess, honestly, I could just say jealousy, because this man's extremely talented and successful, I guess. And apparently that makes people upset. I don't know. But to know that Andy being such a good dude is just reinforced in this documentary was very nice. And again, the documentary itself, it made me cry. It made me cry and just remember how happy I am to be able to be a fan of this band. And I know that I'm lucky to have been a fan for quite a while now, but it's just lovely to know that they're still making strides. They've got new music on the way and another part to this documentary, hopefully soon. And I don't know, the future for Black Veil just hasn't ever looked brighter. I'm very excited to know that this next record we've got coming from them is going to be the most authentic Black Veil experience yet, and something that they've always wanted to make in terms of sound, hell yes. Very excited for that alone, and then to get even more of an insight to the band, and who knows what the next couple episodes will be about, if however many we have in store. But it's going to be interesting to see not only more of a backstory, but even more so towards the show that they're doing this for, that Wembley show. The once in a lifetime kind of show for them. And I really hope it isn't once in a lifetime. I hope they make it back there and are able to sell it out and, have multiple nights. I know that's dreaming big, but they're my favorite and I can't help but dream big for them because in my mind, they really deserve it. Now, besides Black Veil Brides, as much as I love them and could probably go on even further, I will leave the rest of it for you guys to go and watch if you're interested because it is a worthwhile watch. It's around 45 minutes or so, maybe 47. And I swear every minute of it was worth it. Some of it was a little bit like, they could have edited some of that out. But again, it was just the experience of watching it and being able to see like, oh, this is kind of how they do their day to day. They're nothing glamorous. Like, yes, they are beyond, beyond anything I could wish to be. I mean, within reason, but a lot of their interactions are just genuine. And like they just reaffirm that, yeah, they're just dudes and their music was able to reach so many people so closely, and I am included in that. But again, besides the point, Black Veil Brides, who cares about Black Veil Brides? Their new documentary, Part 1, go check it out. It's on their YouTube channel. Now, to get into the last thing I kind of wanted to talk about, and a really big thing that I want to talk about, mind you, NF. Now, if any of you know, which, I mean, if you're listening to me, you probably do, NF just posted, not a couple days ago, a video saying something's coming like 11/14. And I thought, oh, hey, a song. Hell yeah. The next day, I believe is the next day, if not the next day after that, day before Halloween anyways, he announced it. His return. The new EP from NF. Fear. Now, don't even get me started on everything to do with it, because I would be here forever, but I have so many theories, so much like analysis that I want to do, but I can't really do that without hearing the songs themselves. But, to say the least, was I shook? You best believe I was jaw dropped, because I got a phone call midway through my workday. Hey, did you see it? Did I see what? What do you mean? NF. And I was like, oh my God. So I rushed to Twitter. And I seen it. His EP, Fear. The album artwork itself, if y'all haven't seen it, please go check it out. Because if you're an NF fan, this speaks volumes of just looking at the photo. The mansion is burning. The mansion that is Mansion, the one that holds all of his bad thoughts, all of his everything, the memories, the things that he writes on the walls, the doors that are shut that he doesn't want anyone in, like that mansion that he speaks of in so many songs, especially in the first album. And even in Hope, the music video, he re-travels through it. It's on fire, and it is burning down, to whereas the back of the album artwork, so the back cover, that says the song names, the mansion is completely burnt down. Now, what does this mean? What does this mean? Because I know in some songs that he has had in the past said he would have to open the doors and is it me or the fear talking? I don't know anymore. And it makes you wonder, like, okay, this album's called Fear, or this EP rather is called Fear. And it is only 6 songs long, so it's not incredibly long by any means. And the songs being, I should say, are track 1 is Fear, track 2, Home, track 3, Who I Was, featuring MGK. Okay. There's that MGK feature that I don't know if anyone remembers a while back now. NF and him had a interaction on Twitter, and it was like, oh God, they might be doing something together. This is it. And unfortunately, that song is not on any physical versions. And I found out because of certain tweets that he's posted since that he just didn't meet the deadline for it. I guess there was a deadline for the physical copies, is at least his words. There's a deadline for the physical copies, and he didn't meet it. And with digital, it's a lot easier to just pop things in. You don't have to worry about it. Kind of upsetting, though. Not gonna lie. Like, I get it if they already existed physically. Yeah, it is what it is. But I can't you like repurpose those things? Like I know nothing. I know nothing. But unfortunate all the same. Hopefully it's a good song. I don't even know what to expect from that. Cause like, anyways, track 4 being "Give Me a Reason." Track 5, "Sorry," with James Arthur. Oh my god, that one's gonna make me cry. If not all of these ones, not gonna lie. But that one, James Arthur, he pulls at the heartstrings. It's gonna be another emotional acoustic track. And after Running, and a lot of what it was on Hope, I don't know if I'm ready for that, but I am so ready at the same time. And then it's gonna end with track 6, "Washed Up." And the whole track list just has such a solemn sadness to it. Just reading the names of the songs, and it makes me wonder, like, I guess this is his fear talking now. We had Hope talking in the last one, and him literally fighting with fear, literally telling him to stop and sit down. This is his album. And then for him to literally talk to fear again at Running, like, I don't want you anymore in my life. Like, I need you, but I don't want you controlling this. Like, this is my life. I want to live it. And now we're here. And yes, his whole discography kind of has this storyline that follows throughout, but the reason being is this storyline is his life. There's no characters to it. It's just him. It is him battling these demons within himself, these balloons of doubt, these fears, this anger, everything that he hides in this mansion and keeps locked up. Well, it's not going to be locked up anymore. And maybe this is his way of showing that he's truly let God into his life again and is maybe better than he was before. But with the title of the album and the track list and how solemn it feels and the very quaint blue hue of the background to it being kind of in a haze, this fog, this smoke, it just seems very dark and seems like a very vast transition back to kind of his roots with Mansion. And to go back to the mansion itself makes me wonder so many questions. Fear is finally back, and is this going to be his way of getting rid of fear? Obviously, being a human being and taking yourself out of the music, fear is never going to go away. None of these things are ever going to go away. And that is the case for anybody that is alive with a beating heart. Like, you're going to be struggling with these things that NF so often just raps about in such a real way. And that's, again, his slogan is real. Keep it real, Nathan. Like, I can't help but think of Intro 3. And I'm sure a lot of people have already kind of made this comparison and whatnot. But with Intro 3, to know that that was him killing his fear. And then, you know, he knows he'll be back in a week. And just everything about that song. If anyone knows Intro 3, I'm thinking this is going to be another Intro 3 of some sort, but just like, I don't know. I don't know. Because I guess I'm just kind of rambling at this point to say that the little snippet that we did get was Hope with a bag over his head, being led somewhere new throughout the darkness. And obviously we can assume that it will be to the mansion. And who knows, maybe fear is going to try to burn Hope alive. Will hope prevail or will fear? And what else will be released? Or some of these songs, are we going to get these emotions that he has had maybe, you know, a hold on, a grasp on within Hope? Are they going to come back full force? Because if the mansion is burned down, all hell breaks loose. Like that's why I'm so like, holy shit about this. Because obviously it's either he doesn't need the mansion anymore. He feels solid within himself and happy enough to just know that all of this, he's ready to face it. And maybe he himself, Hope, Nate himself, maybe he's able to burn that down himself and not need fear to do it. And it isn't some twisted reality. But knowing NF and how dark he can get, because life does get dark sometimes, and how real he can be, I can't help but just say I am very excited. And even when he was asked about Intro 3, like, where's the Intro 3 music video on Twitter, he just all caps, And he's done that in songs before, like the And I don't know if that's something maybe Fear does, or I don't even know. It's just wild to think that we are nearing November 14th with new NF music on the way. And I've been listening to more of his music again because he is one of my favorite artists. I'm going through his discography again. It makes me really, really excited to know, like, hey, we're almost there. And I just can't help but feel excited and also nervous and anxious. Not for anything to say that the music's going to be bad. That isn't even in my mind. But just anxious and nervous for him. I know I don't know NF, and I probably never will. I would love to know him, but I know he's a very personal guy. He just, keeps a close-knit circle, and that's power to him. I just hope he's okay. Like, truthfully, at the end of the day, all of this music aside, because I know he uses this music as his vice and a way to speak his feelings, I just hope that he is okay. And that is all that anyone can do. If you're a fan of NF, keep the hope alive. Like, I know now more than ever he needs it. And I'm excited. I am very excited to hear all that he has to bring, even if it is just 6 tracks. I know I'll be wanting more at the end of it, but I don't even care. I'm excited for whatever it is, and I just, at the end of the day, the main takeaway from this, with it being Fear and that mansion burning, even with all of the theories I have of what might happen or what it means, I just hope Nate, the person, I hope he's okay. And if somehow, Nate, if you're listening, doubtful, very doubtful, but I hope you're okay, man. And to kind of end on saying some tweets that he gave out, something I just kind of wanted to read out here. From Laps R8WX, they asked, how closely do you work with your producer? Are you in the arrangement sessions together? Do you send him project files and bounce it back and forth, etc.? And NF replied, I make the tracks with the producer. I'm involved in it all almost always, videos, etc. And it does turn out that we're getting some more merch for this drop. He dropped a shirt, which I guess the fine print was a little blurry, but people have kind of deciphered it. I'm not going to go into that yet, though, because the merch is going to come out soon. It's probably a lyric, which I'm very excited because it is very dark. But something that I wanted to also say was from It's Braywood on Twitter, of Clouds in this EP, which is your favorite? And NF said they are too different. So obviously we are going again in a very dark direction, because Clouds was, yes, it had its dark moments, but wasn't anything super, I mean, it was a mixtape. It wasn't an EP. I gotta say they're two different things. And in my mind, that makes me excited to be like, okay, NF, he never redoes his stuff. He always goes new. He always tries to outdo himself, and that's something I adore about him. And I hope that this time, he feels good about these songs, which he does come to say after being asked from Grayster XD, are the new songs gonna make us cry? Be honest. And he says, hard question. I cry to my own music sometimes, but of course I feel it because I wrote it and really feel those things. So I cried making it, but it all depends on if it's relatable to you, if it will move you. And that alone just goes to say it's going to be a hard one. It's going to be a heavy one. And I know I was already expecting that, but to even get that from him, like, if you've related to NF before, and not saying you'll always relate to everything in his life, he's his own person and so are you. But I know for me personally, I've related hard to a lot, and in my own ways, I think this one's going to hit me very hard. And I'm sure it'll hit a lot of people. Just hope that everyone is going to be okay, and especially, again, Nate, I hope he's okay too. And then, obviously, I wanted to kind of touch on this one as the last one, to say he was asked by Fudabucker, hopefully I said that right, is it a sad/not sad, or is it just a barrage of things you've been working on EP? He butchered that punctuation and grammar, but whatever, you get what he's asking. NF said, no matter what I do/whatever I'm making, it somehow turns into a body of work, even if I didn't mean for it to. It's just my life, and it always becomes part of the story, because that's how I write. Enough said. So NF, he's going to be back soon. Again, we got Black Veil with their documentary on YouTube. NF is coming back very, very soon. And on a happier note, we can look forward to the Oilers. If you guys like hockey. If not, then football is out there too. So all that to say, there is a live performance of Downstairs by 21 Pilots. Very good, I must say. If you're a 21 Pilots fan, such as myself, go check it out. It is so worth it. I hope they drop it soon on some streaming service, because I would love for a live version of that to be able to just be in my eardrums all the time. And also, November 8th, I believe, is the day, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction. They're going to be doing a cover of Seven Nation Army by the White Stripes. And I'm very excited to hear that because, hell yeah, 21 Pilots. So again, 21 Pilots, Black Veil Brides, NF, all doing things. And they are my three most favorite artists, favorite bands, of all time. So very, very happy, even with the tragic Blue Jays loss. And again, hopefully everyone can find solace and bring something good out of it. So anyways, all that to say, thank you for listening to all of my rambles, and thank you so much for discovering the music within.